humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful and we're beautiful and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the Spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
I hope you liked the new intro, ladies and gentlemen. God, that's just so much fun. But on a more serious topic, I am so sick and tired of watching people try to shame others for having a preference and articulating that preference online. I don't know what gets into these sort of people, but when somebody like me comes along and says, I'm not going to buy or play The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom because I don't want to play as a girl. I don't want to play as Zelda. I'd rather play as Link. He's the hero. He's who I grew up with. I want to play as him. I want to do the dungeons as Link. I want to beat the enemy as Link, and I want to save the princess. I don't think that's too much to ask, but apparently, in current year, it is. Because you're not allowed to want that. What you have to want is whatever the groupthink mob on Twitter wants. Whatever the collective on the content creator space wants. So, if I come out and say, yeah, pass on this game, not really interested, don't want to play as a female character in the Legend of Zelda game. You know, it's one thing if you play as a character for a little bit or a little cutscene here and there, but I want to play as Link. Link's my man. He's been with me since the beginning, and you know what? He hasn't let me down so far. I don't want to play as Zelda. Alright? Is that crystal clear enough for you? But all these cucked out of their mind losers seem to not be able to handle that. Whenever I articulate that, or whenever they hear that from other people, they go into this tailspin, and we're going to watch a video from one of these people. They just can't handle the fact that I have a reason that to me is valid, apparently not to this guy, because anyone who disagrees with people like this, well, they must have some nefarious reason. It must be that they haven't really thought it out or something. No, I've thought it out. I just don't want it. I don't like it. It's the same reason I didn't buy Gears of War 5. I don't want to play as a female character in that particular genre. Gears of War 5 was one of the worst performing of its kind. Echoes of Wisdom doesn't appear to be doing well at the moment. I looked at the Twitch numbers. It's relatively low. There's not much hype around the game, and while the sales may do decently well, we don't know at this point, it seems like nobody is really discussing this. Nobody is clamoring to play it. A few people here and there, but it's kind of a blip. Now, we're going to watch a video from a content creator named Zelda Master. This guy has some interesting things to say. Now, what I will say is I don't know if Echoes of Wisdom is woke. I don't. I've not played the game. I've seen clips of it. I've seen reviews and stuff like that. It has nothing to do with being woke or not woke for me. I don't want to play as Zelda. It's really that simple. I don't want to play as Zelda. I want to play as Link. Because Link is the hero. He's the main character. He's the one that saves Zelda, not the other way around. And it's not some sexist tirade. It's just when I'm playing a fantasy game, a fantasy adventure, I know that a lot of people in the West like to, deconstruct things and alter things and bastardize them and change them and, how many genders are there now? But the reality is that I like the traditional formula. All right? You got a simple farm boy. You've got Zelda. And by the way, the thing that is actually interesting to me is the way that these freaks and these creeps want to diminish Zelda. Because Zelda's role in the game is not like some insignificant throwaway thing in my preferable Zelda game. No, in fact, ironically, she's too important to put in the hands of the character. Zelda is like she's she's a reincarnation of the goddess. So my version of the game, I want to beat the big bad. I want to go through all the dungeons. And I want to save the princess at the end. Because ultimately, Zelda used to be a representation of Hyrule itself. When Zelda was in trouble, Hyrule was in trouble, you save her, you save the day. But apparently I'm not allowed to want that because some losers on the internet can't really get out of their own way to think maybe somebody has a difference of opinion to me that isn't based around some kind of deep held prejudice. Oh, come on.
Game. I mean, you play as a girl. Girls don't even play. Is Echoes of Wisdom a woke feminist game? I mean, you play as a girl. Girls don't even play games. Nor are there any girl heroes. Before you argue that Metroid is a girl, it's actually a dude in armor. You never see us questioning if Master Chef is a girl or not. And 2B is a robot, so technically she has no gender. So what other sorry example do you got? Bayonetta? Bayonetta is a witch, and witches can't be dudes, so that is the one exception. But when Nintendo tries to pull off this dookie on us, we can see right through it.
So I understand that he's trying to straw man and mischaracterize people, but I'm just curious, who has ever made that argument? Any of those arguments? Like, who has ever made any of those arguments? And see, that's where this sort of falls apart for me. Like, I understand you want to take pot shots at people you disagree with. But at the end of the day, the reason why something like this falls flat is because somebody like me, who may be amenable to some of those, like, oh, haha, Samus is a guy, or, whatever. Somebody who would understand the reference, I look at that and go, no one has ever made any of those arguments ever. I've never once heard somebody say, you know what, Metroid would be better if Samus wasn't the main character, but instead it was, Sam. Just Sam. Not Samus, just Sam. A masculine... No. In that genre, and that IP, it makes perfect sense. Bayonetta, same thing. But you see how these weirdos, these creeps, you see how they operate? I don't know if... I know this guy is doing a tongue-in-cheek thing, but the thing that's odd is that the parody is actually more making fun of him. Because it's somebody... What this appears to me to be is somebody who's woke, mocking somebody who's unwoke, who's trying to mock somebody who's woke. It's like retard inception. It doesn't land, my dude.
How are you gonna tell me that in The Legend of Zelda, you play as Zelda? I mean, what kind of oxymoron is that? Next you're gonna tell me Elden Ring is about a goddamn ring, which it isn't. I ain't seen no Elden Ring in the game. And yet you're expecting me to play as Zelda to save Link this time? What the f*** is this trash? Is it opposite day or something? The game is 0 out of 100. Go broke before going woke. Next you're gonna tell me that...
Oh, man. You know what's interesting is that this is insufferable for reasons that this guy probably doesn't understand. And the thing is, the irony of this is that people like myself who are not going to play the game and not going to buy the game wouldn't do the opposite of this. I wouldn't make a game that's just mindlessly shitting on his preferences that ironically makes me look like an absolute fool. But these people are so pushed to do this. They're so compelled to do this. They're so bothered that you and I have a more traditionalist mindset, that we want to play as men. We want to play as men saving the princess. That, to them, is so offensive that they're willing to make a fool out of themselves and do like an 8-minute and 17-second video articulating why. I mean, it blows my mind. They're willing to humiliate themselves for there's no valid reason for this. I mean, this doesn't hurt me. This doesn't affect me in any way. It's just sort of a thing that exists on the internet now. But go broke before you go woke. So, I mean, you would have to ignore some of the most major decisions currently happening in gaming to pretend that wokeness isn't a thing. But more than that, even if this game isn't woke, which I don't know if it is because I didn't buy it, the fact that you have people like myself who don't want to play as a female character in a Legend of Zelda game, it has nothing to do with wokeness in and of itself. What it has to do with is a very simple mindset, which I think that a lot more people share with me than with this person, but I could be wrong. But it's very simple. I don't want to play as a female character. That's it. It's not a hatred of women. It's not a disdain for women. I know that would be much more convenient, but it really is simple as this. If I'm playing as Link, I want to venture through Hyrule. If I'm venturing through Hyrule, I want to play as Link.
Going woke. Next, you're gonna tell me that this game was directed by a girl. Wait, it was? Cut.
RPG Tabletops is now offering their 10,000 maps bundle at an incredible discounted price.
I've never been more happy to see an ad in my life.
Okay, if you somehow managed to endure that intro without clicking away, let's actually discuss this topic. Let's not pretend that Echoes of Wisdom doesn't have a stigma attached to it. This game is the first in the mainline series to feature Zelda as a playable character instead of Link. But the changes don't just end there. Nintendo seemingly overhauled the gameplay from the standard sword fighting mechanics the series is known for a more mage-like style, where you sit back and let your echoes do most of the work for you. Of course, you can still utilize classic sword fighting skills, but in much smaller doses, limiting your options and resources when it comes to combat. This new style of gameplay seems to have alienated some fans who don't even want to consider picking up the game. So, has Nintendo sold out to wokeness? Well, obviously, no. I mean, Echoes of Wisdom is an exciting new direction for the series, melding new and old concepts into a fresh and maybe too adorable package. While this year seems to be the year of Nintendo princesses getting their own games, Echoes of Wisdom is leagues above Princess Peach Showtime. You can't even compare the two. One is a fully fledged game with an engaging story, puzzles, and world to explore, while the other feels more like Nintendo's attempt to create a girl game. And it's even a shame that Echoes of Wisdom is lumped in a game like that, as they are nothing alike aside from the protagonist being a princess this time around. At its core, Echoes of Wisdom just continues to evolve the series' new approach by moving away from using a specific set of catered items to solve puzzles, and instead gives Zelda a whole new array of tools for both combat and puzzle solving. And this aligns with the new direction Nintendo has already been taking the Zelda series. Echoes of Wisdom is no different than Tears of the Kingdom in how you can solve things your way. And this just seems to be the new standard of puzzle solving in the Zelda series. So when you look at it that way, the series is just continuing to evolve the way it already has been. And while for some reason some people think it's sexist that Zelda can't do what Link does, that's simply not even true. She actually can, and more even. She has the ability to mimic Link's exact moveset, albeit not for long. Though this limitation emphasizes and promotes the use of the rest of her arsenal. Like, imagine how unbalanced the game would be if you had endless sword fighting powers. You wouldn't appreciate the new abilities you now have. And from a design perspective, Zelda has never been a sword fighter. Honestly, viewing the game that way will help you appreciate the concept behind can do with this new formula, and I really hope we'll get more Zelda titles featuring Princess Zelda and her new moveset. Like imagine an open 3D adventure like Tears of the Kingdom, but where Zelda is playable instead.
Oh, I'm imagining it. I'm imagining myself not buying it because I don't want to play as it. I don't know what the fascination is. I really don't. I don't know where this, like, perverted, freakish desire comes from. Because it is a perversion. It is taking something that is traditional and good and works and wanting to tinker with it and bastardize it into something that doesn't. The reason why it doesn't is because Link and Zelda are not interswappable. They're not just interchangeable widgets where you could have, oh, Zelda's the main character now. Now she's the mage or the swashbuckler. No. What does that do for Link? It basically erases his character. In favor of what? What is the benefit of it? What does it add to the franchise? Nothing. It's just that you freaks have obsessed with this thing about, I like to play, be able to have a choice to play as a girl. No, it's creepy, it's weird, it's wrong. It's never going to work. As seen by this game. You know, this guy, at the end, he says that this game is really, really good, and he hopes that people give it a chance, and, you know, if they do, more power to them, but no. I'm just not interested. And you know what? A lot of other people aren't interested as well. Not only not interested in playing the game, but not interested in watching the game. It's not doing well on Steam. Not Steam, Twitch. People just aren't talking about this game very much. In fact, the numbers for this game have plummeted, and it's only been out for, what, less than a week? I mean, it has not been up for very long. Now, I've heard good things about the game. I've heard that people like certain facets of the game. I've heard that it's very easy. You know, but the art style, I don't think is necessarily the problem. It's one of the problems. It's definitely one of the problems. I look at the game and it's too plastic. They should have done something a little less stylized. Personally, that's what I feel. They should take it back more to like A Link to the Past. Try to make something it's a little more reminiscent of that. Maybe try like a 2.5D game or something. I don't know. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, this is just one other example. This is just one more person that has a problem with people sharing their preferences. They have a problem with people articulating the fact that they don't want girl boss main characters. And beyond just girl boss main characters, they don't want to play as female characters at all in certain IPs. That's absolutely true. There are certain things I don't want to play as a female character. Assassin's Creed is another example. It's like there are many, many examples of where this stuff doesn't work, and I think this is one of them. Now, a Princess Peach game, I think, absolutely can work. I think that a Princess Peach game could work if they tried it. Because it's different. It's extremely different. But for me, it's going to be a no. If they were to do a big budget, huge Legend of Zelda game where Zelda were the main character, my answer would be no. Simple as that. You can feel free to disagree with me. You can feel free to let me know why you think I'm wrong. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't think that this idea is going to go over as well as some of these people think that it will. I think that ultimately it's just going to end up being a major flop. And by flop, I don't mean that it's going to sell zero. It's not going to become a Concord. The name Legend of Zelda still has tremendous power. But by flop, I mean it's not going to catch on. It's not going to be as iconic as some of the other games that have come out that have stood the test of time, like forever. I think that it's not. I don't even think it's going to be as memorable as A Link Between Worlds, if I'm being honest. So, that's my opinion on it, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time.